Now, if you confess Jesus as Lord with your mouth and believe that the Father rose him up on the third day, you receive the mercy and the grace of the Father from his Son to you. So it's interesting you say that, because my position would be that I feel that the church has gone too far to the God's a loving God, God's a merciful God, which I would say he is, but the Bible, God is holistic. The Bible says that God is a judging God, but he's also a merciful God. You know, because if God has a standard of holiness, because he is holy, he must commit to that standard. But he also has a standard of grace and mercy. You know, so you fail if you go too much on the judgment side, and then you also fail if you go too much on the mercy side. You got to balance it, be nice in the middle, right? So every time when I share the gospel, I share the law, and then I share the grace of God. The law, because what happens is God's law was meant to bring us to his feet and ask for grace. Because I'll give you a parable that Jesus taught. He was saying that there was a king, right? And there was a man who owed him a debt. He owed him, like, we'll just use the term US dollars, right? He owed him $50,000. So the king demands this guy to give him his money. The man says, King, I don't have the money. Forgive me, please have mercy, be patient with me, right? And the king was sitting there and he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna forgive you of your debt. Just make sure to live a good life, basically. I'm kind of paraphrasing. I don't remember it very well off the top of my head. He was like, oh, thank you, king, thank you. So the man goes home and he sees his neighbor who owed him $500. He goes up to him and he says, where's my money? And the man says, oh, be patient, be patient with me. I'll give you the money. And he doesn't show mercy. He calls the authorities and they lock up that man, and then he starts, that man who's asking for mercy didn't receive mercy. So the king found out about this, right? And the king said, you couldn't offer grace and mercy to him who owed you little when I offered you grace and mercy when you owed me much? And he calls him a wicked man. He lets the other man free and throws him into prison. So here's a crazy thing. When we have a large debt, we could be really graceful. We're more grateful when, if I have a large debt, when I'm before a court and if it's paid off for me, I'm really grateful that it was paid off. If it's a small debt, I'm grateful, but not too grateful. See, what the law of God is supposed to do, it's supposed to show us how much of a debt that we have, to the point that it's crushing. But then God takes it and we're just left like in awe, like, Lord, I am evil before your law and wicked, and yet you decide to show me grace? And then what happens is it creates a humble and contrite heart, and you're humble before God.